Hello, I'm Asha Wheeldon. I am the founder of Kula Foods, aka Kula Kitchen. We produce Afrocentric plant-based food. Our goal is to offer diverse, rich flavors that really speaks to my ancestral food and that of our team. And so today I'm going to do a little walkthrough to our kitchen and a demonstration of one of my favorite flatbreads called Chapati, and we'll show you some of the ways you can enjoy it. I am very excited today to share one of my favorite recipes, Chapati. It's a very popular flatbread from East Africa that we usually enjoy with a side of our stew and veg. So I'm very thankful today to be partnering with spud.ca for locals to highlight some of our offerings. Right now, I believe that it's a very important time to be connected, and so we're very grateful for their support and for your support. So today I'm going to be sharing one of my family's recipe, Chapati. So it's a layered flatbread that's usually enjoyed with our stew. Today we'll be using Swiss chard and kale. So this is a great holiday meal and to really pump up your side dishes. The ingredients we'll be using is all-purpose flour. You can also use a blend of whole wheat and all-purpose, some water, salt, and olive oil. So you can really substitute any of the oils. You can use olive oil, sunflower oil, coconut oil. I prefer olive oil, warm water, and sea salt. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, so I have 3 cups of flour here. We'll go ahead and add some oil. And what you're aiming for at this point is to get some sandy texture. Okay, so I'm using my hands. You can also use a mixer if that's what you prefer. I'm gonna add some water, so gradually just add a bit of water. So about a cup and a half of water right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add water gradually and mix it in. So I learned to prepare chapati at a pretty early age. So I grew up in Kenya, and this dish is often on the table, and so I would say as early as 10 years old, it was one of my first introductions to cooking. What I love about chapati is that it requires very minimal ingredients, and so it's a lot more accessible and super straightforward. It is timely, but it's so worth it. Okay. So at this point, I have just a bit over 50% of the water in the dough. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, again, just gradually. The oil really softens the dough very well, so it's necessary. However, if you want to omit, you can also do that. I would say about 10 minutes. To gradually just work the dough and until it's nice and pliant and soft and the gluten has been activated. And at this point, I'm just kneading with my hand. Next, what I'm going to do is remove the dough out of the container and go ahead and start kneading right on the flat countertop that's been sanitized. Got some sticky dough, so I'm just gonna input that in and just add more oil. Just gonna grab some flour. Just dusting the surface to make it easier to work. And again, there's no right way or wrong way of doing this, but the key is you wanna really get that gluten activated. All right, so at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow this dough to rest. So place it right in a bowl here and cover it with a towel. And we'll let this rest for about 40 minutes to an hour. Okay. So now the dough has rested for about an hour. So now what we'll do is we're going to divide this dough into a couple of portions. So you're probably going to get about 6 to 8 in total. For this one, I've already sort of started dividing. So I'm going to go ahead and roll into a noodle. And you can make it as small or as big as you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut these up into pieces. So next I'll just like make a ball, just encircle. And you'll repeat for each one. Cover and set it aside for another 15 to 20 minutes. So we've got 4 here. And what I'll do is just cover these and just let it rest for 15 minutes to 30 minutes. So once it's rested for 15 minutes to 30 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and roll out the shapes. So we have those rounds, which, you know, as it rests, it actually can expand out. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna roll this out flat. Just like that. I'm gonna roll it this way. You kind of want one side to be a bit longer, almost like an oval. Okay. And then get the oil. So that oil again will give you a nice soft chapati on the inside while maintaining the crisp that we want to maintain on the outside. So get as much oil on here. Okay, and I'm just gonna roll this in as a nice little thin noodle. But there you go. So I'm happy with that size, and I'm gonna go ahead and tuck in from one end. Okay, into a nice, looks almost like a croissant. Here we go. And that's it. So we'll let this rest for 15 to 30 minutes before we roll it out once more. So it's been about 15 minutes now. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll out our chapati. So the goal is to just roll them out as much as you can into a nice even circle. All right, so now that the pan is ready, I just waited a couple of minutes so that it's nice and warm. I'm gonna go ahead and fry these up. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is just place the chapati right on the pan. I'm just gonna go ahead and move that around. So at this point, I'll just brush some oil on one side. All right, that's great. So what I'll do next is just flip it over and do the same thing on this side. You'll notice it getting a little smoky. That's from the oil and the heat. You don't want it too smoky. If you notice that it's really high, just reduce the heat. And I'm just brushing oil, and that's according to whatever you feel. So if you want to omit oil, you can do that. This is, again, it allows it to be nice and soft while maintaining that crispy edge on the outside. That looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off fire. I have some awesome Swiss chard, which you can find also on spud.ca, and then a blend with kale, and so highly recommend that. I'm just gonna quickly toss this over. I kind of started, but with just garlic, olive oil, and a dash of salt is all you need. And I'm just gonna take this off heat once it's all steamed. So we're gonna enjoy the chapati with our vegetables, with our sukuma stew. This is our classic lentil collard green. Look out for our stews and pepper sauce on spud.ca. You will also receive a discount on your first purchase with the code Kula20 for $20 off your first order.